In 1850, the average American family survived on what equals just $600 a year in today's money. That's $50 a month. Yet they owned their homes outright, raised 6 children, and never touched a credit card because they didn't exist. Fast forward to 2026. We earn 100 times more, but 63% of Americans can't cover a $500 emergency. We have more money but less wealth. Here's what nobody tells you. Today's millionaires are quietly studying these forgotten 1850s habits. Not because they're romantic about the past, but because these methods build actual wealth. I spent 3 weeks digging through Victorian-era financial records, household ledgers from the 1850s, and interviewing modern families who've applied these principles. What I found will change how you think about money forever. Let's dive in. In 1850, families didn't have bank accounts. When a husband got paid, usually in actual coins, his wife would divide the money into different pouches or envelopes. One for rent, one for food, one for clothing, one for emergencies. Historical records show a typical breakdown looked like this: 40% for food, 25% for rent, 15% for clothing and household items, 10% for fuel and light, 10% for savings. Yes, they saved first. Once an envelope was empty, that category was done for the month. No borrowing from other envelopes. No credit. If the food money ran out, you got creative with what you had. Here's why billionaires are bringing this back. In a 2025 study by Cambridge University, people using physical cash spent 23% less than those using cards. Your brain processes physical money differently than digital numbers. Modern application. You don't need cloth pouches. Try this for 1 month. Withdraw your variable expenses in cash. Create categories: groceries, entertainment, gas, eating out. When an envelope is empty, you're done spending in that category. Financial expert Ramit Sethi calls this conscious spending. The 1850s housewives called it making do. Either way, families report saving an average of $300 to $800 per month within the first 90 days. In 1850, if you wanted something, you waited. Not because people had discipline, but because credit didn't exist for regular purchases. You saved until you had the full amount. But here's the brilliant part they added: the 1-year waiting period. Victorian household ledgers reveal a common practice. When someone wanted a non-essential item, a new coat, a piece of furniture, even a luxury food item, they wrote it down with the date. If they still wanted it exactly 1 year later and had saved the money, they'd buy it. Historical data shows that 84% of items on these lists were never purchased. The desire faded. They realized they didn't actually need it. Compare that to today. The average American has $1,250 in online shopping cart regret, items bought impulsively and barely used. Warren Buffett still practices a version of this. Before any major purchase, he enforces a 30-day waiting period. For really big decisions, he waits a full year. That's why he still lives in the house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. Your move: create a wait list in your phone. Before buying anything over $50 that's not essential, add it to the list with today's date. Set a reminder for 30 days. Most items you'll forget about. The ones you still want, you'll appreciate more because you chose them consciously. One family I interviewed saved $4,200 in 1 year just by implementing this rule. In 1850, a pair of boots cost the equivalent of $300 today. That was 2 weeks' wages for a laborer. So you didn't throw them away when the sole wore out. You repaired them, again and again. Household inventories from the 1850s show something fascinating. The average family owned 3 to 4 outfits per person. That's it. But these clothes lasted 10 to 15 years because they were constantly mended, altered, and maintained. Today, we've flipped this completely. The average American throws away 81 pounds of clothing every year. We buy cheap, wear it 7 times, and toss it. Here's the math that'll shock you. 1850s approach. Buy quality boots for $200. Repair 3 times at $40 each equals $320 total over 10 years. 2026 approach. Buy cheap boots for $60. Replace every year equals $600 over 10 years. You're paying almost double for inferior quality. This is exactly why the ultra-wealthy get their high-end items repaired. Steve Jobs wore the same Issey Miyake turtleneck design, not because he couldn't afford variety, but because he bought quality and it lasted. The repair economy is exploding in 2026. YouTube has 14 million repair tutorial videos. YouTube has 14 million repair tutorial videos. Next time something breaks, pause before replacing it. Google, item name repair near me, or item name DIY repair. One couple I spoke with started repairing instead of replacing. In 18 months, they fixed a vacuum cleaner, 2 phones, a leather jacket, and a coffee maker. Total repair cost, $180. Replacement cost would have been $1,340. That's $1,160 saved by thinking like 1850. In 1850, nearly every home, even small city apartments, had what they called a kitchen garden. Windowsill herbs, backyard vegetables, a few chickens if space allowed. Financial diaries from Boston working families show that kitchen gardens reduced food costs by 30 to 40%. A family of 6 could grow $400, $500 worth of food in today's money in a small 10 by 10 plot. But it wasn't just food. People made things. Clothes, furniture, tools, preserves, candles, soap. Not as hobbies, as household economics. We've become pure consumers. We buy everything. Entertainment, food, clothes, even pre-cut vegetables. We've outsourced production completely. Now watch what's happening with millionaires in 2026. They're learning to produce again. Not because they have to, but because production builds both wealth and skills. Mark Zuckerberg raises his own livestock. Jack Dorsey makes furniture. Oprah grows her own vegetables. Martha Stewart, obviously, produces everything. A 2024 study from the National Gardening Association found that a $70 investment in a garden produces an average of $600 worth of vegetables. That's an 857% return. Show me a stock that performs like that. You don't need acres. Start with one productive skill. Grow herbs in your kitchen. Saves $30, $50/month. Learn basic sewing. Saves $200, $400/year. Make your own coffee instead of buying it. Saves $1,200 per year. Bake bread. Saves $15, $20/week. Choose one. Master it. Watch both your savings and your self-sufficiency grow. In 1850, the nuclear family living alone was rare. The standard was multi-generational. Grandparents, parents, kids, sometimes aunts and uncles, all under one roof. Census data shows that 64% of households in 1850 had 3 or more generations living together. This wasn't about tradition, it was economic brilliance. The math was simple. 1 house instead of 3. Shared utility costs. Built-in childcare. Built-in elder care. Combined purchasing power. Shared labor. Today, we've decided everyone needs their own house, their own lawn, their own everything. It's financially devastating. The average American family spends 33% of their income on housing. In 1850, it was 25%, and they were housing more people in that space. Now look at how the wealthy do it differently. They're bringing back the family compound model. The Walton family, Walmart, family compound in Arkansas. The Rockefellers maintained multi-generational estates. The Rothschilds literally built family compounds across Europe. In 2026, there's a massive surge in intentional communities, co-housing and multi-generational planning. Why? Because people are rediscovering the 1850s truth. Shared resources equals multiplied wealth. This doesn't mean you need to move parents in tomorrow. Start smaller. Can 2 siblings share a house and split costs? Can adult children stay home longer and aggressively save? Can grandparents provide childcare instead of paying $1,500 per month for daycare? One family I interviewed implemented this in 2023. Adult son moved back home for 3 years, paid parents $800 per month instead of $2,200 in rent elsewhere. He saved $50,400. Parents paid off their mortgage 8 years early. Everyone won. In 1850, debt for regular people didn't really exist. No credit cards, no personal loans, no buy now, pay later. If you didn't have the money, you didn't buy it. The only credit available was from local shop owners, and it came with social consequences. Everyone in town knew if you couldn't pay your bills. The shame kept spending in check. Compare that to today. The average American has $6,501 in credit card debt at 22.8% interest. We're paying $1,483 per year just in interest, money that vanishes into thin air. Over 30 years, that interest compounds to $44,490 paid to banks. That's a year's salary for many people just gone. This is why financial experts like Dave Ramsey preach cash-only living. It's not a new idea, it's the original idea. For 99% of human history, if you couldn't pay cash, you didn't buy. Warren Buffett has never carried a credit card balance. Never. He uses credit cards for points but pays them off immediately, exactly like 1850s shop credit. MIT neuroscientists discovered that paying with credit cards suppresses the pain of paying in your brain. You literally don't feel the purchase the same way. Cash activates loss aversion, you feel the money leaving. Try the 30-day cash challenge. Calculate your monthly variable spending, food, gas, entertainment. Withdraw that amount in cash at the start of the month. When it's gone, you're done spending. People who do this report 25 to 40% reduction in spending in the first month alone. One couple paid off $32,000 in debt in 14 months using cash-only spending combined with the debt snowball method. In 1850, there was no such thing as a restaurant visit for regular families. No DoorDash, no frozen meals, no pre-packaged anything. If you wanted to eat, you cooked. From scratch. Every single meal. Financial records show families spent 40% of income on food. But this was raw ingredients. Flour, beans, salt pork, seasonal vegetables. They bought ingredients, not meals. Today, 60% of the American diet is ultra-processed food. We're buying convenience and we're paying a massive premium for it. Let's compare. Homemade bread, 80 cents per loaf. Store-bought bread, $3.50 per loaf. Homemade beans and rice, $1.20 per meal. Chipotle burrito bowl, $12.50 per meal. You're paying 10x more for someone else to prepare your food. The average American family spends $788 per month eating out and ordering in. That's $9,456 per year. Now watch the wealthy. They hire private chefs, yes, but to cook from scratch. Not to order takeout. Why? Because they understand the 1850s principle. Control your food, control your health, control your wealth. In 2026, meal prepping has become a $10 billion industry. Why? People are rediscovering that the 1850s housewife who spent Sunday preparing the week's food was onto something. A family I worked with started cooking from scratch 5 nights per week instead of ordering out. Previous eating out, $650 per month. New grocery bill, $320 per month. Monthly savings, $330. Annual savings, $3,960. In 3 years, they saved enough for a down payment on a house. You don't have to cook everything tomorrow. Start with one from scratch habit. Make coffee at home, saves $150 per month. Meal prep Sunday for the week. Master 5 simple recipes you can make cheaper than buying. One recipe learned well can save you thousands. In 1850, furniture was expensive. A dining table cost the equivalent of $2,000 to $3,000 today. But you bought it once. Your grandchildren used that same table. Estate inventories from the 1850s show something remarkable. Furniture was often listed in wills because it had lasting value. A well-made chair was an investment, not an expense. Today, we buy cheap furniture from IKEA, it breaks in 3 years, and we buy again, and again, and again. I'm too poor to buy cheap things. Unknown, but wealthy people understand this deeply. The real math. Buy quality leather boots for $300 last 15 years equals $20 per year. Buy cheap boots for $60 replace every year equals $60 per year. Over time, cheap is 3 times more expensive. This is the buy it for life movement that's exploding in 2026. People are rediscovering what the 1850s knew. Quality pays for itself. The wealthy buy from brands that have existed for 100 plus years. Why? Because companies don't survive that long making garbage. Next purchase. Apply the cost per use calculation. $300 boots worn 2,000 times equals 15 cents per wear. $60 boots worn 200 times equals 30 cents per wear. Buy the expensive boots. They're half price. Start with one category. Boots, kitchen knife, winter coat, mattress, or office chair. Buy quality once. In 1850, you ate what was in season. Period. Strawberries in winter? Impossible. Tomatoes in December? Didn't exist. Spring? Peas, lettuce, asparagus. Summer? Tomatoes, corn, berries. Fall? Squash, apples, root vegetables. Winter? Preserved foods, root cellars, dried goods. Today, we expect everything all the time. Strawberries in January shipped from Chile. Asparagus in November from Peru. We're paying an enormous premium for this convenience. Strawberries in season, June $2.50 per pound. Strawberries out of season, January $7.99 per pound. You're paying 220% more for lower quality fruit. Seasonal eating slashes your grocery bill by 30 to 40% while improving nutrition. In-season produce is cheaper, fresher, and more nutrient-dense. The wealthy eat seasonally because they have access to information we ignore. They know asparagus in May tastes better and costs less. Google what's in season your state, current month, and build 1 week of meals around it. Your grocery bill will drop immediately. In 1850, entertainment was something you created, not consumed. Families gathered to play music, read aloud, tell stories, play games, put on little performances. Financial ledgers from the era show something shocking to modern eyes. Entertainment expenses were nearly zero. Why? Because they provided it themselves. Compare that to 2026. Netflix, $15.49 per month. Hulu, $17.99 per month. Disney Plus, $13.99 per month. Spotify, $10.99 per month. HBO Max, $15.99 per month. Amazon Prime, $14.99 per month. Total, $89.44 per month equals $1,073 per year just for entertainment subscriptions. Add live events, movies, concerts, sports. The average American spends $3,000 plus annually on entertainment. Meanwhile, free entertainment is everywhere. Public libraries, free books, movies, music, parks and hiking trails, free museum days, community events, board game nights. The Rockefeller family was famous for their family game nights, not because they couldn't afford Broadway shows, but because they valued creating entertainment together. Cancel one subscription this month. Replace it with a created experience. Game night, home concert, storytelling evening, backyard camping. One family cut their entertainment spending from $250 per month to $50 per month and reported being happier because they spent more time interacting. Annual savings, $2,400. Let's add this up. If you implemented all 10 habits. Envelope system, $400 per month saved. 1 year rule, $350 per month saved. Repair versus replace, $100 per month saved. Kitchen garden, $80 per month saved. Multi-generational living, $700 per month saved. Cash only, $300 per month saved from interest plus overspending. Cook from scratch, $330 per month saved. Buy quality, $150 per month saved. Long term. Seasonal eating, $120 per month saved. DIY entertainment, $200 per month saved. Total, $2,730 saved per month. Annual savings, $32,760. Invest that at 8% return over 20 years. You'd have $1,589,282. The people of 1850 weren't smarter than us. They didn't have more discipline. They just lived in a system that made wealth building the default, not the exception. Today's millionaires and billionaires aren't bringing these habits back because they're trendy. They're bringing them back because they work. These methods survived 175 years because they're based on mathematical truth, not financial trends. You have a choice. You can keep living like everyone else, drowning in subscriptions, debt, and consumer culture, or you can live like 1850 new and 2020 SIXS wealthy are rediscovering. Pick one habit from this video. Just one. Implement it for 30 days and track the results. Comment below which one you're starting with. I'll reply to every single comment for the next 48 hours. If this changed how you think about money, hit subscribe. I'm releasing a video every week on forgotten financial wisdom that still works today. The past isn't backward. Sometimes it's the only way forward.